because I got all jacked up about coming back because there's so much. Let me temper this. Sometimes leadership comes back and they want to play the game of, here, I'm going to tell you a good story and it's going to be the story. But you guys, honestly, I was empowered last week, number one, as a team leader, number two, as a part of this company, and what the intention is that everybody's putting together right now. And when you look at where the market is and you look at the trajectory in times when the market has looked like this, and what we as a company have done to bridge some of the housing gaps in certain communities, what we've done as a company, 1 in 4 transactions last year was a Keller Williams transaction. Ran through our company, either the buy side or the sell side, 1 in 4 in the world. So that means that as a company, we had a little over 2.2 million transaction sides that will have come through our company. And that's because of people like you, people online that have seen some incredible things in their business by being purposeful, by being specific, by having a goal, and by moving towards that goal. I'm excited because of some of the other stuff that I heard, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So we're going to talk a little bit about Ask Gary, which is an interesting thing. We're going to talk a little bit about a product called Heat Seeker, which is going to give you guys some fun, sexy stuff. Did I say sexy in the morning? I don't know. Here we are. It's like Magic Mike, only different. It's more like, what's that country singer, Jelly Roll? Whatever. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to wrap up today talking about personal alignment and what we have a tendency to do in terms of setting goals on an annual basis and what that actually looks like in our life. So we are going to jump right in. Jordan, what's up first? We have our friends from Great North Title. Come on down. Kayla, my friend Kayla is going to kick us off.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Just tried to scare Mike a little bit. Welcome to the team meeting. It's so nice to see everybody. I feel like it's been a minute for me as well. So we are Great North Title. If you want to just start with the next slide. So I know you guys know who we all are, but I wanted to start with some more meaningful content for you guys, because you don't just want me to stand up here and talk at you and tell you all about my likes and dislikes. So I'm going to try to be resourceful for this time. So our agenda today, 3 things you must know about your real property. So we're going to go through joint tenants versus tenants in common, homestead status, and deed scams. How you're entitled matters. So this isn't really typically something that the realtors have to do or look out for. It's more so on your title person. But fun fact, if you guys want to check your own home, your own deed to make sure that you are in title, how you would like to be in title, that can be important. So there's 3 ways you can be in title: sole ownership, joint tenants, and tenants in common. So you just want to make sure that you are, if you're in title and you want to be in title with a spouse or somebody else, you want to make sure that that box joint tenants is checked. And Jordan, actually, if you want to go to the next slide for me. So this is where you would find it, in this area right here. And sometimes it's actually in this spot right here. But joint tenants means that you have the right to your property in order if something happens to the person that you're living with. So you have right of survivorship. So that way, if the person that you're in title with passes away, you don't have to go to probate on top of all the other things that you're dealing with. You just have that right to the property. If you are just tenants in common, which that's also an option, but that would mean that you would need to go to probate if the person you're entitled with passes away. To qualify for homestead status. So if you want to qualify for homesteading, you have to do this before the 31st. So make sure of that. Some tax documents are coming out now. So you can check if you are homesteaded on that as well. But in order to qualify for homesteading status, you have to own a property, occupy the property as your primary residence, and be a Minnesota resident. So it can't be like your second home or your place of work you bought. It has to be your primary residence. So next. Homesteading application, again, due by 12/31. You can apply. Most counties allow you to apply online. So you can do that. If you do, it's not, Anoka is not even paper anymore. So I don't know that there's many paper applications. Ramsey, right? Okay. But if you close with somebody like Great North Title, the closing table, your closer will make sure that your client has homework to do if they would like to do it. Otherwise, our closer will do it for them. We'll send that in, or they will set at the table and make sure that that gets done before they leave. So, pretty thirsty. Let's talk about some deed scams, wire fraud, and email phishing. So we all know that is on the rise. So I'm going to tell you a few things that you can look out for, some red flags. So deed solicitation scams, words are hard. So you want to make sure that your clients aren't getting scammed. This is what something Britt put some examples of what this could look like. So people, the scammers, they follow when you're going to close on your house, and then they will send out a piece of mail that looks like this, saying that you need to pay for a copy of your certified deed. It is not true. Your title company will give you that, and it is also public record. So it might say like you need to pay to put this somewhere for thousands of dollars, and you can so it might say that you have to pay to get it recorded. That's not true either. So just make sure that your clients are aware of that as well, and your title company will also help them at the table. And Nicholas,
People are getting they're getting contacted to have a copy of their deed sent to them, and how much are these other people charging?
yes, they're getting a piece of mail that looks like this, and they're saying that piece of mail is saying, hey, send your deed in to us with a check of X amount of money so we can record your copy of your deed. And that is not true.
But your clients don't need to buy their deed, that they can reach out to their title company. That's a major thing that's happening everywhere.
Yes.
Backing up to the tenants.
Oh, tenants in common joined.
Anyone discovered that it was wrong. Is that an easy fix?
Yes. Yes. Britt, I'll let you elaborate on that, but it is.
Yeah. You can elaborate quickly and then we'll take care of it.
Yes, yes.
File a quit claim deed.
Yeah.
So if you guys can't hear online, Peter asked if it is difficult to change how you're entitled, and it is not difficult. You can do a quit claim deed. Reach out to your title professionals for Great North Title. How to protect yourself from email phishing and wire scams. So work with a reputable title company like Great North Title.
Sorry, according to NAR,
yeah,
the number one entry point for scammers is real estate agents. Not the title companies, it's not the mortgage companies, it's the real estate agents. We have weak passwords and we have generic email accounts. And if you're not using encrypted email services through like your KW, most of that is going to be clear. If you're running your own URL and you're running your own team email, make sure that you're checking the encryption and that you're changing the password it regularly, that you can't be hacked and then the title company ends up sending your wire somewhere else.
Yes, you are correct. And we, as a team at Great North Title, have invested in technology that is secure. So we use secure emails. So when we talk back and forth with your buyers and sellers, that is in a secure email. Sometimes it can get kind of annoying. You have to double click, but it is for their benefit, so they don't get scammed. Some other red flags and things like that that you can look out for are, I think it's on the next slide, maybe, otherwise. So some other red flags that you can look out for is if they're telling them that they have to wire their funds 3 days before closing. No title company we will never ask you to do that 3 days before closing. So that is a huge red flag that you want to make sure that you don't get scammed for, and you just really want to follow looking at those email addresses, clicking on who is the sender, following and seeing what is after that at, and making sure maybe one letter is misspelled or one word. You just really have to look closely at that. We have heard of instances happening where funds are wired and they're gone, guys. You can't get them back. Once they're wired, they're gone. So please just make sure that, you have that conversation with your clients as well. But as a title company, we do the utmost research on the technology that we can have to make sure that those things are safe for you guys and your clients. Just in case anybody does not know, we are licensed in Minnesota and Wisconsin, so we can close properties in both. We also have mobile closing options, so you can do a online closing. And just so everyone knows, when you do that online closing, you're still going to get your closer from Great North Title. It's not going to be just some random person from Minnesota. So as an agent, you guys still get that last touch point from closer if they decide to do it online. And this is Mike's team. So this is Team Mike. So Team Mike is the closer. He is either here, Egan, or everywhere. I feel like you should be in like a Dr. Seuss book or something. Here, there, and everywhere. And this is Heather. She is our team admin scheduler. And then Jackie is our buy side processor and our dual processor. Amanda's the seller side processor. That is Brittany McGoy, our CEO, and I am Kayla. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, GNT, for being fantastic partners. We genuinely appreciate the work you guys do to service our clients and your participation here in the office. Thank you very much, guys. All right. I got a.
All right, I'm gonna just talk on this real quick. So we are gonna start career days on Saturdays. We are actually looking at agents to volunteer for that. The big thing with that, guys, is it's gonna help build your downline. We all talk about profit share here, and that's a huge thing. So we're gonna start that in January. The dates available are listed up there. We'll probably put the sign-up sheet outside of Carrie's office at the moment. But if you're interested, sign up there. Come talk to me. Let Alec know. Let one of us know. All right. Thanks so much. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. So tomorrow, December 6th, I know some of you guys are in bold. I'm bummed that it's the same day, but we will get a recording as far as I know. But we have KW Tech the Halls happening tomorrow. So this is a free virtual event hosted by all these amazing KW leaders. You'll see starting off at 9 a.m., we have Jason Abrams kicking off the event. And so this is a whole day just surrounding KW Tech. I think they're doing like marketing, AI, command. So tons of different learning opportunities. if you guys are interested, we can play it here in the training room. Otherwise, it is a virtual event. So it'll be a Zoom link and it is on the training calendar. So definitely plug into this. I attended it last year and it was a great event. So tons of new knowledge and just learning from other agents.
You said you think there'll be a recording?
Yep. Yeah. So we're hoping to get the recording. I just haven't had that confirmation yet.
You do screen record anyway, so that there's not an I think in the. They see it.
Yes, I will look into that. It's like a 5.5 hour event. So I just have to find a computer to do that. But I'll look into that. Otherwise, I'll double check, see if they're going to record it. Okay. We'll do it on next. All right. So this Saturday, December 9th, we have our Winter Wonderland event. Woo! So if you are not familiar, this is our annual client event where we have our photos with Santa. We have treats. We decorate. As you can see, we got some stuff going on in the market center. Lots of decorating still to do. But it's this Saturday, 12 to 3. If you have not signed up to participate, this is a great chance. We're looking for volunteers for you to see the event so that maybe next year you're able to kind of get an idea of how it works and see if it's a good fit for your sphere. So I have a sign up sheet that I'm going to pass around that just has some different volunteer spots if you're available. Again, Santa's going to be here. So definitely, if you aren't going to volunteer, stop by, come see the office, and just say hi to your leadership team. So I'll also send out the link again, but again, that's this Saturday. So it's going to be a bit crazy in here if you're planning to stop by for like meetings and that kind of thing. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know, or Sean or Linda. We're all here to help. And so that will be this Saturday. We're really excited. Questions on that? Yes, Steve.
That's a big deal.
Oh, thank you. It is.
Great.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of fun. So we're really excited.
Not only that, the market center was incredible. Thank you guys for doing that, because I came in, I was ready. It was the season. Let's get it.
Ooh,
DJ.
DJ.
Good morning. For some updates about the association, it is not much this month. I think everybody is preparing for the 2024, but I would like to say it is NAREP is going to have an event tomorrow, Thursday, in the KW. You need more information. It's going to be Isaac. I think he's going to talk about it. NAREP, they have the holiday party, December 7th. It's for members only. ARIA, they have December 19th. They're going to have an event, Joy for Joys. It's a volunteer event. If you are part of that chapter, you can just attend or see you can be a volunteer with them. LGBTQ Plus Alliance is having an event, Stop Hate in Real Estate. It's a really important event. It's going to be online, a webinar. I can send Jordan the link. This is a moment that they are doing with everybody, inviting real estate to be more aware, the LGBTQ community. So they trying to do national speakers, people who is more prepared to talk about diversity. So you can attend, please sign. It is free. And it's going to be December 6th, tomorrow. WCR, the Women's Council of Realtors, which just have yesterday, the member appreciation event. That was great. And for the 2024, we have already all the dates. So we want to send it soon to everybody who is interested and be part of the Women's Council of Realtors. But also we want to have all the dates ready so you can attend to the events. And finally, I want to invite Steve to come here, please. We were in the conference for the National Association of Realtors in September. I was more for the Women's Council conference, but I have a chance to sneak a peek with the National Association of Realtors. And it's a huge conference. That was like 12,000 members.
I think 15,000.
15,000. Oh my gosh. Okay. But he was over there and he attended more sessions than I did. So
I'm honored to be here with you. I think I have been to maybe 15 Keller Williams conferences, some of the big ones, family reunion, et cetera. I think I've been to 15 or 16. And about every 2 or 3 years, I think it's a great idea, me and anybody else who would like to follow that idea, is to go to the National Association of Realtors convention. I just think it's a wonderful opportunity. It's a huge crowd. I think it is whatever it is, 12 or 15,000 people. And the unique thing is that those people are from everywhere. You go to the Keller convention, which is always worthy and always interesting and always with lots of education. But you go to the National Association of Realtors convention. I'm not here to pitch it. It's just been my impression. I think I've been to at least 10. And you've got a world full. And quite literally, I think there are 39 different countries represented there. And they are all part of the National Association of Realtors in our country. So all of that is interesting. And I'm part of the Land Academy with the National Association. It is worth it. I went there and it was a terrific experience. It's always great. And it's great also to mingle with a few other people. One of the most important things that I think was the very first presentation for the entire 4 days. And that was, I think you can probably talk about this better than I can, but it is the issue of the lawsuit that has gone on, which is basically behind us. I'm trying to, parse that under the carpet somewhere, but it certainly, that was a big deal, a big point of conversation. Lots of things that was once in a while. And every once in a while I would see PJ running down the hall in one of the rooms, and she's had about 5 people around her following her. So it's the leader. That was my impression. It was absolutely worth it. It was in Anaheim, which is a little bit warmer than here. And it was very worthwhile. That was my impression. And if you ever think about it, it's not expensive. There's an airplane ride in there somewhere, but there's always a way to make it happen. And I would just encourage you to at least think about that. It comes around usually in the latter part of the fourth quarter of a year. So back to the
I'll take it as a quick second, DJ, and just say, with what Steve just said, it makes sense. I had a drawn out meeting like this once. Inside here is KW. This is your family. Outside here is NAR. This is our community. So your family, you're going to get a bit more intimate with. You're going to have conversations about what's really affecting your business, the best things you can do. But you don't want to ignore the idea that the industry is also an important aspect of how you are going to cross-pollinate with ideas and also help people on a larger scale through WCR, through NAREP, and through some of the other community organizations that come through NAR. So don't sleep on NAR because they got a lot of opportunities. Steve, myself, and DJ, you are on the St. Paul board right now, correct?
Yeah.
So for 2024. So one, thank you for that. Thank you for the update. And if you guys want to get it, if you guys want to get involved in SPAR, reach out to one of these 2 individuals or reach out to myself. There's a lot of opportunities for you to get involved and help people. So thank you guys for that.
one of the other thing is NAR is implementing more international business. And this year that was NAR en Español. So they have couple sessions just in Spanish, and I think they are trying to do in a different language in the future, which is a huge deal for NAR. The other thing is you can see different perspectives when you go to those type of conference nationally, and you can come back and talk about more professional what things are happening, and not just like, right now we have a lot of suits going on, and sometimes we don't know how to answer those questions. So over there, you see the highest performance people talking about it, giving you tools and how to answer those kind of questions. So it's a huge deal going over there. And plus you do a really good networking with different people from Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, KJ. I appreciate it. My man. All right. So Isaac and I have been talking quite a bit lately. And one of the last times that we spoke, I was impressed with his delivery on this conversation. And I think that I'm excited to hear what he has to say today. So give it up for our boy, Isaac.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How many of you remember the movie Right Stuff?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Great movie. Now, it's a story about the Mercury 7 astronauts and the early days of the space program. So we're talking the 1940s, mid 40s to late 40s. Long time ago, right? Maybe not so much. Okay. And pretty much the first half of the story is talking about the program, and it's talking about the mission and these pilots who are what's considered space pioneers. And they're literally pioneers because the whole mission was to fly faster than the speed of sound. And the mission of that, why it was so important, was to do this as a whole, not just individually, but as a whole, faster and higher than the Soviets, who are our enemies at the time. And so the first half of this movie is spent talking and going over the lives of the pilots. And these folks are pioneers. They are literally sacrificing themselves and taking these immense risks for a greater good. There were crashes, there were mid-air ejections, and some of them actually lost their lives. And why is this such a big deal? This is such a big deal because they were risking this willingly. They stepped up and decided that this was more important than themselves. It was a bigger thing. And so now they are battling this thing, and every once in a while there was an ejection in the midair. Every once in a while, someone that actually passes away because of a crash. And so they ended up calling it the demon in the sky. That was their battle. It was the demon in the sky. And so now it's Chuck Yeager's turn. And Chuck Yeager, it's his turn to go up in the X-1. And the night before, he decides that he's going to go on a horseback ride with his wife. And as if somebody wrote the story, he falls off the horse, some damage to his ribs, busts up his arm. He plans to move forward. He's not going to tell anybody. And so the next day, he's hurt, but it's his turn. He's going to move forward because that's the plan. And as he was gearing up, as he was getting ready, the engineer of the aircraft reminds him, Chuck, this aircraft is designed to go faster than the speed of sound. So B-29 bomber takes off. It's got the X-1 attached to it. And at the proper altitude, it drops it. Chuck ignites the 4 engines and he takes off. And he's moving. 700 miles an hour. He's calling out the speed over the loudspeakers that are on the ground where people are watching. People are recording. Some people are praying. 710, and he is moving. 720, he calls out, and the aircraft starts shaking. 730, and it's starting to violently shake now. 740, he's starting to lose control in the joysticks. 750, he calls out, and he's wondering, should I start pulling back? 760, he calls out, and it's so violent that the gauges are starting to crack. 770, boom. It's loud, strange, boom. Demon in the sky takes another life. And on the ground, heads bow down, eyes are starting to fill up, tears. Crackles over the loudspeaker. You hear Chuck say, 790, it's smoothing out. 800. And he says he's going faster. And so on the ground, the crowd started cheering wildly because he did it. He is now moving faster than the speed of sound. And what they discovered was, what they learned from this was that this barrier, what it was air molecules compressing against the dome of the structure of this aircraft. It was the resistance. It was the resistance that was causing the wild vibration, that was causing the violent shaking, that was causing losing of control. That it was the natural world pushing back. And I think about that. And I think about this story because look at where we're at. What's going on with us and the things that we are attempting to do, the things that we are hanging in there to do, because we are feeling that violent shaking. We are seeing our cages crack. We are maybe starting to lose control. We're wondering, should we be pulling back? I want to say this, I want to share this story because I want to remind you that we are doing things. We're in this because there was a why. This is why it was so important to understand what your why was. We are doing something that is bigger than us. And for each of our individual whys, you are not alone. Around you, not alone. I want to remind you of this because I want to remind you that we are designed to break through. Keep that in mind as we're pushing through the other side, where it moves faster and it moves smoother because there's always that breakthrough. Because in 6 months, we're going to have either 6 months of excuses or 6 months of results. You get to choose. Alex Hormozi says, there's only 2 outcomes to your business. Either you're in your business long enough where you eventually succeed, or you quit right before it happens. Thank you.
I appreciate that more than you know. Appreciate your willingness to stand up and be a leader and have that conversation. Breaking through is it might as well be our mantra for 2023 and beyond, right? And what do we have next? Just in case I don't want to go over. We're going to come back to my conversation then. Lynn, we're going to kick you off if you want to go ahead and jump in.
All right, if the noise in the background is too much, just tell me. Greg. What? Hold on, guys.
This is real estate in real time. This is loud.
No, but just as little talking as possible. Give me 5 minutes. All right, guys, thank you. I'm having flooring installed in my house. It's a little chaotic. Everything I own is in the kitchen. I want to share with you guys something really basic. Agency. I sat in a very long arbitration last week that came down to agency. A large commission for an extremely nice house that was lost over a simple agency form. I cannot give details, but I will share with you that if you feel there's a substantial conversation, price, terms, and motivation, and you do not present agency, stop the conversation. I literally do what I learned in school. Time out. We're getting a little deep into this. Let's do agency, and then I'd love to finish this conversation. If you don't get that agency signed at that point, You may be facing a panel that says then you did not have a substantial conversation because you are a professional and you did not feel you were at the point where you needed agency signed. It was a big decision based on a really, really everyday activity. Present agency. The panel in executive session, actually, I asked, okay, how do you guys do this? I mean, we're all in this business. This is your peers. This is other agents that you're talking to. And they were like, always have a copy in your car. Don't worry if it's folded up in your purse, throw it out there. If someone refuses to sign it, put a decline across it and have them initial that. It shows you presented it. You felt you had a substantial conversation. When I meet someone, I staple it to the listing I'm showing them. I staple my business card to it and I put in my CRM that it was presented on this date. Those CRM inputs are dated. Anything you could do to show that you have presented agency could save you a very big check. I wanted to keep today super simple, but you can't present agency too early in a relationship. You can only present it too late. So please, if you're doing open houses, have some with you. Put them in your car. It's not that hard. Ideally, you'd have like all the buyer rep papers with you also, but at the very minimal, have agency, whip it out, show someone that you're more professional than the person they talked to at the last house. You thought that they should have agency. With all the commission talk, protect your commissions and get that thing signed. Agency, I can't tell you how many files I review where agency and buyer rep docs all have the same date as the purchase agreement. I just saw Shannon shaking his head, yes. You know, agency should be signed before you start showing all those houses. Even if buyer rep doesn't get signed till a little bit afterwards, that agency should be signed before you start opening doors for people. Not at the time you're writing an offer. If that's your technique, is to wait till the end, it's getting a little hungry out there. People might challenge you for your commission. All right, that's my preach for the moment. Anyone have any questions or any really good suggestions on how they present it?
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you. Yes, add away.
You know, I don't know if this is for newer or experienced, but it just came to me that anytime I want a listing or a buyer, because I brought that sheet out and they had never seen it before. And I said, oh, most people aren't following protocol. And right away, they change their mind and they want to use it, get good at it.
I want to work with people who can be resourceful, not who can be salesy. Right? Being resourceful.
Stand by that perfect, because I think have the same date.
You know what? Peter's 100% correct. Because I've gone out on listing appointments where I know I'm not the first one, and we're talking net sheets and numbers and people's motivation. And you pull out agency and show you're more professional than the people that came before you. That's huge.
Next. Oh, we have me next. Okay, so I'm going to do a few different things here. So follow along. I promise I'll try to be precise. Help me. I spent the last week in Austin, Texas with Gary, Jason Abrams, and Mark King, and along with Mark Willis. And they did an incredible job of helping bring perspective to me, not just on the market, but on the condition of our business, the condition of our company, the mental state of our people. And we started to talk in a very curated way. They talked about all of the things that are coming. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of high points. They are currently not launched. This is hot off the press information. I went to look and see if they'd published anything on it yet. They haven't. Have any of you guys heard about Ask Gary, the AI piece that's being developed right now? All right, that's a good place for us to start. So Ask Gary is going to be a piece where you type in, it'll be a widget on our website. It'll be a widget on our command that you'll be able to type in information and essentially what would Gary do? Sound a little blasphemous right now, but we'll just leave that away. It really is an opportunity for you to use an AI solution. So Gary right now is recording his responses to a lot of these conversations, which then will go into your command. That's one. Two is the AI piece that is being generated so that there are chat bots. We already know we have chat bots, right? But a lot of times a chat bot is only responsive and reactive. They're not proactive. But it's being developed right now and they're looking to roll out. I'm guessing, like in most things, where are they going to roll it out? Family Reunion. Thank you. So, which also gives me a one moment to pause on that. If you have not already signed up for Family Reunion, you guys take this as an opportunity. One, it's in Vegas. Two, it's at the end of February. We're going to want to get out of here. Three, you have two of not even arguably two of the biggest mental health action-oriented speakers, and Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins in the room. They're not related. Was a joke. Thank you. Bad jokes. Bad joke Tuesdays with Nick. That dad joke. I like dad jokes. Good at it. So there's that. Then the final piece is this heat seeker piece. So what you guys might not know is when I went to Austin early this spring, they talked about heat seeker, an AI intelligence piece that uses data to help us determine, in my case, who I should be calling from other brokerages. So you want to know something even better from me? Like spying on you guys. This uses 52 pieces of information to determine if you or if other agents using publicly accessible data to determine 52 points of interest for whether or not you are happy, successful, and like your brokerage. Believe it or not, that the number of agents that have left us in the last 3 months, I could have predicted by using this tool. So what I want you to say is, I'm watching you. No, I'm just kidding. What I wanted to say is this also has now been developed or is currently being developed and rolled out on a beta testing level for sellers. Nobody else has this. No one else has this right now. No one else has this. No one else has spent the money for this. So, sometimes when we fund NASA programs and they charge like $750 million for a toilet seat at the Pentagon, I think if some of this has kind of been happening in our tech development. And it's not one of those things that they want to announce, hey, by the way, we're rolling out an AI piece. So one of our competitors rolled out an AI piece a few months ago that was essentially a chatbot. Cool for them. What we're getting now is an AI piece that is going to start reaching out to your clientele. They're going to start giving you that. The heat seeker piece takes all of the data that your clients are putting into the internet. So for instance, maybe they don't know they're moving yet, but on their Pinterest page, they start liking specific types of homes, specific locations. On Facebook, they're looking at different communities, different schools. Maybe they in their mind haven't come to the fruition yet that they're going to do this. They're starting to think about it. That score gets hotter, goes from green to yellow to red. Green, which is kind of counterintuitive, but the red is it's hot, right? Heat seeker, this is a hot lead. Right now, we are able to determine agent movement. Now, that doesn't mean that I can tell the moment an agent moves, but I can tell when they're going to make that consideration. Whether it's from a different brokerage or here to a 94% accuracy rate. That's pretty insane. What they're working on right now for sellers is that at about an 80+ percentile of being able to determine when somebody that is in your sphere is going to be thinking about moving. Everybody you've added into command will show up with a heat seeker score. It takes into consideration the things that they're not telling you the things that they may not be telling their spouse. So for instance, one of the examples that he had given was an example where a husband and wife owned a home just outside of Austin, Texas. And the wife, they showed up on the list because the wife was searching for divorce people, divorce attorneys. In this particular case, the wife wasn't actually interested in getting a divorce from her husband. She was, in fact, looking for divorce attorneys so that she could go to work for them because she had work for them. Now, the point is that this one piece of information jumped up their score considerably because it's a heavily weighted data point, right? But then they used some other things, the length of their marriage, the length of time where they were, and a few other things to determine that, well, that highly weighted indicated score bumped them up. They weren't actually and they used that using her LinkedIn profile because it said she'd worked for a divorce attorney. So what I'm telling you guys is that AI is working at such a higher pace that this stuff is happening in real time. And it's the culmination, in my opinion, of what we've been waiting for from our tech, right? We've talked a lot about it. What Gary would tell you, what his team would tell you is, like in any good entrepreneur, you got to do the entrepreneur work first to get to purposeful. And we're getting to purposeful finally with our technology. So I'm excited about that. Look forward to that. We're going to roll out most of that at Family Reunion. So that's that. Second, there are some changes coming to our market center. And I'm not going to go too deep today because one, there isn't enough people in the room. I want more people to hear it. And two, I want you to hear kind of what this really looks like in real time for us. The change is that we work for a company that is incredibly thoughtful about who we are. And as a franchise, you don't buy a McDonald's franchise to make Burger King onion rings. Even though they're bussy, they're really good, right? Like that. See, I'm just sprinkling in the words, right? I'm just saying, riz me up. I don't know what that means, and yes, it is. I don't know what it means, but it sounds cool. I'm making a point. So change happens, you guys, and we work for a firm who spends a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of computing power to identify the areas in our business that make sense to change. And so we are seeing a change here. Todd owns multiple market centers, and in doing so, there are some efficiencies that can be created, and there are some opportunities for us to reevaluate and reallocate some of the money that we have that we currently set up for certain things. Now, what does this all really mean? Somebody out there is going, get to the point. The point is that change is necessary. And when we work for a company as smart as ours, sometimes change isn't welcomed like, oh, that's going to be great. But I promise you the changes that we're committing to as a market center, as a region, and as a company will make sense further down the road. Some of these changes include we are getting a co-working MCTT, somebody who will be accessible to us at all times, who will be working in the market center to launch cool projects alongside Sean and alongside myself and Jordan to make sure that the things that we're doing as a market center, that we're getting the tech help that we need, we're getting the command help that we need, we're getting the implementation help that we need for our agents to be the most successful. For the agents that are coming in to Alex coaching program and coming out of K-Score and K-Prep, we have some opportunities there. So those are some things that I think are positive. Now, as we roll them out, we'll have more information, what they mean, contact information, and having classes begin to be taught here. I didn't expect to go down there and find myself in agreement with changes that I don't always get an opportunity to give my opinion on. But going down to Texas and listening to what Gary says. Now, Gary's like that older, pragmatic, well, he's a grandfather now. And when he talks, you listen. And when he says the things that he said to us this last week, it compelled me to believe that Gary does it better than me, and he's done it longer than me, and he's done it with more passion and more consistency than me. And so he deserves for me to follow him. And so to him and to the changes that they're making as a part of our company that affect us and affect you guys, I want you to know that I fall in line with Gary because I believe legitimately he cares more about you than he does his own bottom line. I legitimately believe that. And so in that, it doesn't always mean that I'm going to like what they say or like what I need to do, but I'm telling you guys, I'm committed to doing what he said because he does it better. And he really, really does believe that these changes are necessary in order to make our market centers more efficient and long-term more profitable. And I want to address this because I think it's important. Profit is culture. Profit is culture. We are in a business in which you guys are independent contractors. And if your profit is not important to you, you're struggling right now. If your profit isn't important to our company, then we're not profit sharing. And if we're not profit sharing, we're not attracting new agents. And if we're not attracting new agents, we are dying. So this is where we start to look at change. One of the things that I did, and I wanted to have a little bit more time, this isn't a trick question. If you have to get up and leave before we're done with this, please do so. I don't want to hold you here. I want to be respectful of your time. But if you're willing to stay on, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want to give some context about this. So towards the end of this week, last week, Jason Abrams comes in and does his Jason Abrams magic. If you've never been around Jason Abrams, if you haven't watched or started to listen to the podcast, the MREA podcast, I think it's better than the Think Like a CEO podcast. That's just me personally. It's more, I don't know. Think Like a CEO seems to be like a business podcast for everybody. The MREA is exactly what it sounds like. It's a millionaire real estate agent podcast talking to some of the most prolific Keller Williams agents, team leaders, and leadership that we have. So Jason said one thing that stuck with me. I'm not gonna trap anybody in this, but we've done vision boards. You guys have done vision boards, and there were a couple up on the wall. There are some of you that may still have some in your office. Now, I'm not going to poo-poo this, but I've felt this way, and Jason Abrams articulated it right away. Vision boards are bullshit. You know it, and I know it. Now, does it mean that they don't serve a visual representation of opportunity? Nope. It means that the bullshit part is the fact that 90% of people in 5 weeks of setting a goal stop that goal, right? Because the gauges start to crack. Because there's the natural world pushing in, and you're not getting through that other side yet. Gary and Jason are having this conversation about how do you set annual goals? How do you hold yourself accountable? So we oftentimes overestimate what we can get done in a year and underestimate what we can get done in 10 years, right? We believe that today you can have it all. Go out there and do it right away, but oftentimes we quit on ourselves. Jason Abrams went to Gary Keller and said, Gary, fine. Vision boards are bullshit. Annual goals are bullshit because most of the time you let yourself down. We talked about that a lot in here. So what he did next was he asked Gary Gary said, take out a pen and a piece of paper to Jason and write this down. Now, this is why Gary's a lot smarter than me, because he understood immediately what Jason was looking for. And he brought context. He brought context to the idea of helping yourself understand what it is you're really attempting to do. Again, I printed these out. This is one of those things that they will probably put into a playbook here coming up. But for now, you get it raw and unfiltered. I'm going to give you some of Gary's responses to this. Here's the thing, you guys. Who are you? Oh, you got it, my man. All right. For those of you at home, grab a piece of paper and a pen, because the way that I did this was also as a piece of paper and a pen. You can't quite see it, but I have my notes here. So here's what it looks like, you guys. Number one, this is Gary's personal alignment check-in. This is something that you can do. You could do weekly, probably too much. You could do quarterly or monthly. That's probably more right, or quarterly or twice a year. Maybe you even only look at this annually. unlike when we set goals for ourselves, personal goals, a lot of the times where we kind of are ebbing and flowing. And the other thing is don't get locked up in the calendar. You know why? Do you know why we have a calendar? Legitimately, what the baseline reason is? It's for tax collection. Legitimately, if you look at the reasons that we set calendars, it was related to tax collection, right? So if we know that the calendar is fake, but time isn't, right? The calendar is man-made, but time isn't. We give ourselves these unrealistic expectations that you're ready to change today, right? So December 31st, you're like, this is awesome. My year sucked. I made less money, but rage. But on January 1st, I'm going to get up and I'm going to be different. How many of you have ever felt like you wake up January 1st and you go, nope, still the same dumbass. That's just the way I feel, right? Nothing really changes. So this is what Gary said. Who are you? This is the question that Gary asked himself. So they went through this with Jason asking him, though, as though he was presenting. And here's what Gary's response was. I want you guys to do this. I want this to be a part of how you start to gauge what happens in your life. Who are you? So I asked myself that. I'm going to leave you guys a moment because I want to be respectful of time. But who are you? Here's what Gary said about who he was. This was his first answer. A small part of a big universe. This guy is the largest independently owned, most successful real estate company and #1 in all relevant categories. And he says to himself, I'm a small part of a big universe. A guy that I sometimes question his willingness to be humble, well, that's pretty humble. His second thing was, I'm a spiritual being on a physical, having a physical experience. That's a little heady for me. What it means is that he's accepting that things kind of come and go, that he isn't a big deal, and that in a couple hundred years, nobody will remember Gary either. Yeah, he said in identifying who you are, you have to remember not to oversell yourself on the good or the bad. Who are you? Number 2, what do you believe? What's the mantra you tell yourself? Gary said, anything is possible. Problems have solutions. Again, now this is a guy who's crafted the way he thinks. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, Gary Kelly must have it really nice. He created a life for himself, right? Oftentimes when we look at other people in Gary's situation, we have judgment that has really nothing to do with him, but judgment to do with you. Judgment that you might have sitting here for yourself. Judgment you might have looking at me. We're not just in real estate, you guys. Look at you. What do you believe? Do you believe that you can overcome anything? Do you believe that sometimes you wake up and life isn't exactly the way you wanted it? But what do you believe? Number 3, what motivates you? What motivates you? Gary's response to this was to continue to drive hard enough every single day that I have the opportunity to be in business and provide a direction for real estate agents, realtors from around the world, people who care about other people that are doing the work of real estate. Why do you work so hard? This isn't a trick question, guys. Why do you work so hard? It's about money. If you wrote it's about money, I ask you to go deeper. Why do you work so hard? Once you start to identify why you work so hard, you start to get to your reasoning in life. What makes you really happy, which is another question as we get down here. Why do you work so hard? Some of it, you guys, is to avoid something, which is something else we'll get to. But why do you do it? You're avoiding it, right? You're pushing yourself beyond it. Right? Why do I work so hard? Because I grew up poor. Because I didn't have some of the things that I would have wanted in my life. I work hard so that I never have to feel that way ever again. That's a reason. It might not be your reason, but it's a reason. This is where we start to really identify what it is that you want. We talk about millionaire real estate agents, and yet what we sometimes forget is that not everybody in here wants to sell $1 million in real estate a year. And that's okay. As long as you know in your life when enough is enough. When Gary was asked by Jason, when is enough? And Gary said, there are a few things in my life there will never be enough of. There'll never be enough time. There'll never be enough family. There'll never be enough money to help other people. When I answer some of these questions, you guys, I sometimes always think of stopping. And when I listen to Gary's responses to this, I was caught off guard by how he legitimately thinks and how I think. I always think in terms, even when I tell myself not to, I always think in terms of scarcity. Every answer he gave here may or may not have been well rehearsed. I don't know. The way it was delivered to me seemed anything other than well rehearsed. It seemed like this was legitimately how he judges his life. He said, in order for my effort to be good enough, I'm always judging myself on myself and what I know I'm capable of. And using enough is enough for other people, take into consideration their health, their family, and their wealth. Always give other people grace, but for yourself, hold yourself to the highest possible standard, because the higher your standard, the better your success is. And not only that, arguably, you guys, the higher the standard, the less question you have in terms of your own personal ethics. You run into far less issues in your life when you abide a standard, a principle, right? Who I am. What do I want or need to control? Okay. So now this is a trick question, because I immediately went to, well, I need to control the communication. I need to control. Here's what Gary said. I need to be in control of my time, my effort, my focus, and my love. Sometimes you guys, I forget that we work with a real estate company, because so much of what Gary was saying to me will fall on certain deaf ears. I love when it falls on certain deaf ears, because I know that those people that are the deaf ears that's falling on are the exact same people that will come into my office and tell me that their business isn't where they need it to be. Their life isn't where they need it to be. Their diet, their health, their activities, the amount of money they have in the bank, their retirement plan is because they refuse to listen like they're going to get through life without having a better opportunity to improve. You guys are in control of your time and your effort. You're in control of who you love and how you love. You're in control of being kind. Are you in control of the market? No, not in control of the market, right? Are you in control of interest rates? Are you in control of the buyers or sellers that you work with? Are you in control of the person on the other side? No, not. The things that you can or need to control are things that you absolutely already have control over. So don't give up control of those. Give someone else proxy to your control. This is a big one. Number 7, what do you fear? Fear is a determinant of what we will run from. I'll tell a quick story about crabs in a bucket. Now I'll tell the monkey story. Many of you have heard it, right? There's a banana hanging from the ceiling. There's a ladder. And then all the monkeys in there. Now, the first couple of monkeys, they use a fire hose to spray off of the ladder. It's dramatic, I would think. And that trauma starts to envelope the entire community. And over time, nobody goes near the banana anymore. We have a tendency to believe that other people's experiences will be our experience without experiencing that. So what do you fear? What is keeping you from becoming who you want? Where are the blind spots in your life? If you tell yourself you're here and you're willing to do anything, and then you don't commit to anything, you're willing to do everything, but you don't commit to anything, then you're not actually doing it. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting my time. Stop wasting the time of the people around you. If you want to do this, you will. If you don't, whether or not you say it, we'll know. We'll know based on your production, we'll based on your actions and your participation. If you know what you fear, right? If you fear being broke, then you know that there's a powerful lesson for you and seeking out opportunity and growth. What regrets are you trying to avoid? Where in your life have you failed previously? Sometimes those things show up in our life, and I'll give you an example for me, not for Gary, because Gary's was more ephemeral than mine, and I didn't think it made as much sense. In 2008, I lost $3 million in real estate when the market collapsed. I had a bunch of doors, and you guys have heard some of the story, but I lost everything. What happened to me is that during the most opportunistic time in history for you to buy property when it was undervalued for the 7 years leading up to 2021, I was hesitant to get back in because I was fearful. I was regretting the fact that in the past I had invested and then lost. And that regret prevented me from taking any new risk until I realized, in my opinion, later than I would have liked, that I should have been investing in property and getting active. I should have taken control of that, but I didn't want to because in this moment I was avoiding it. If I avoided what that pain was before, then it would never happen again. But what happened is that I avoided opportunity to create passive income, opportunity to grow my investment, and I waited. So don't be that, right? Acknowledge in your life where you are fearful. Acknowledge in your life what regrets you have. And in your life, are you doing things to actively avoid that because you don't want that feeling to exist in your life? Number 9, how do you bring meaning into your life? Oftentimes, the first question that someone says when I say, why do you get into the business? Their answer is usually one of 2 things or the same thing. I like people and I like houses. Okay. I like most people most of the time. And some people, sometimes I don't like anybody, right? Do I like houses? Well, I live in one, if that's it. But do I like houses and do I like people? And is that a reason to get into our business? I don't know if it is, but I know that it doesn't necessarily bring alignment into that meaning. EJ, you are in our business. You also like people and homes, but you've taken it upon yourself to go the extra mile to get very, very specific and very, very focused about helping people, about helping them achieve home ownership, about understanding what it means to be a woman in our business and giving a platform for those women to elevate in their leadership skills and their ability to be successful. Your meaning is more simple for me to define, right? Because you truthfully do care about people, and that by helping people achieve, you are finding meaning to who you are. Now, that isn't as simple for all of us. You do not have to be as philanthropic as Guy is. That's not what all of us are going to feel. But I ask you, what do you do to bring meaning into your life? Maybe it's that you volunteer with kids to do this. Maybe it's that you take your kids to church or your grandkids or your sister's kids. Maybe it's that you coach basketball and you love it, or you coach whatever. Maybe it's that you want to help homeless kids in danger, in bad situations, have an opportunity to not live there, right? That's meaning. When you believe that and you draw that into your business, that meaning becomes capable of achieving at a higher level. Why? Because when you commit to it and you acknowledge it and you put action to it, you understand that your ability to help somebody is exponentially better when I have the money to do it. I would love to go out right now and gift somebody or many people a few $1,000s to help them through their Christmas. I could do that if I did the work in my life that I knew that I can do. Why am I not doing that today? You guys can tell me, why am I not doing that today? Go ahead, Peter.
You haven't done the work.
That's it. You're right. You're absolutely right. I haven't done the work. So when I drive past that person that is homeless and I want to give them something, I can give them some change. I can't do more than that, even though I want to, because I haven't done the work that would give me the opportunity to do so. Lastly, who are you in the end? I talked about this a lot, and this will be where I end, and I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of extra time before Great North gets started. Here's the truth. Who are you in the end is one of those conversations that it's not just about the end of your life. It's the end of anything you do. Who are you at the end of the day? Are you full of shit because you didn't do the work you said you would do? Because guess what? I can't tell by looking at your faces who does the work and who doesn't. Only you know that when you get in your car at the end of the day, when you lay down your head at the end of the night, when you do anything, you know what effort you put into it. My question is, who are you in the end? Are you going to be a person that quit on yourself all the time? That anytime you encountered a warp speed situation in which the plane is shaking, the gauges are wrecked, and the control yoke is all over, you quit the minute that you feel like there's fear on the other side, there's pain. My question to you is, who are you in the end? Not just how will you be known, not just, but who are you at the end of the things that you do? What will you be known for? Not just your work, right? What will you be known for? You be known because you persevered? Will you be known because you didn't quit when you knew you wanted to? Will you be known for being the person that always came to the conclusion, as Gary said at the beginning, right, that anything is possible and all problems have solutions? So whatever it is you guys do, for those of you online and for those of you here, as we move into this next part of our business, they said that next year might be the hardest year on tap. And then guess what I read this morning? That it shouldn't be. So I don't know what to believe. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. No, I don't know what to think for next.
No, so
So what we have to do is change that. Continue to think.
what Peter said for those of you at home is the only thing that we can control right now is our action, right? So here's one of the things we talked about real quick. E plus. Hold on. Just forgot it.
Was action.
I got to think about what the D is. E is event. Right? This is the event. We're going to go with something that probably isn't right. E for event, D for decision, O for opportunity. We all have events that are going to come up. One of you is going to get sick. Somebody in your family is going to get sick. You're going to quit on something in your life. You're going to just decide to do it or not do it. This is the event. There's going to be things in your life that happen. When you add your decision, your ability to determine what it is that you're doing, are you always focused on the fact that you're focused on your outcome? You're focused on the opportunity at hand for you. That's what I want you to think about. Go back, you guys, take these questions and ask yourself, and ask them out loud. Internalize this to yourself. The only thing that is going to slow you down this coming year, I'm not slowing down this year. I'm going to hammer on the gas, and we're going to take this and we're going to do some incredible things. And I hope that each of you realizes that in my work, the same things that you guys have to deal with are true. More than half of the conversations I have are cold calls. Legitimate, hey, Peter, it's Nick over at Keller Williams. Yeah, I talked to Andy, the last guy that was there. I don't need any help. You do, right? If I let the other things in life impact me, right? If I let all of the other events that are happening around me impact my determination, you guys will see it. The office will shrink. Production will go down. Profit share will disappear. Your opportunity to do awesome shit will lessen. Let's go out and be who we're going to be this year. Let's do something different and commit to looking at these for you and tracking or plotting a plan that is completely different than the plan that got you here. Let's take that next express train to somewhere better. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Great North is coming up next.
Yeah.
In the house, watch the game.
You do too much talking on stuff. All about the boy. You'll know about yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll add. Yeah, we'll add. Got that birthday haircut?
You want it? He's- Chicken is out. We're gonna call back. No. So first one, when he just got back to me, I got it, sent it to my brother, when we're gonna talk to him. And, I don't know what the exact number will look like, but it's. With this one.